Hey everybody, it's Mike, and it is Tuesday, and I've got a little bit of updated information for folks on this year's Masters coming up this weekend. I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. I'm going to talk a little bit about the layout in the hotel, so you guys can find your way around. I'm also going to try to do an actual venue walkthrough video Thursday when I get there, so I can actually show folks what the space looks like. Um, but I'm going to point out a few things here now. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about some updates to the Players Pack, and then I've got a quick demo on how to do your score submission for both Masters and Best of the Rest. So this is the site overview slide I've got up here, and what I want to point out to you guys is this one up here in the top right corner labeled Terrace. That is the level where we are. As you can see, we're over here. We are in the ballroom on the terrace level. Which I believe is called the Columbia Ballroom. And as you can see, Kings of War is like right there, kind of in between Lord of the Rings and AOS. And this here is from a load-in area. So this is an exterior door here. So you would come in the doors, walk right past Monument Hobbies, Pro Acryl Paints here, walk into the ballroom, and then basically just like hug the wall around to the left. And that's where all the Kings of War stuff is going to be. Registration, I believe, is right on the other side of the hotel bank. So the hotel elevator bank. So if you just continued straight forward, that's where Reg would be. The terrace is one level below the lobby. So if you follow directions to the hotel, it will probably have you come in on this area in the bottom left down here labeled lobby. This is where the hotel lobby is, like the desk is there. So you would come in over here somewhere and then basically go down either the elevator or escalators one floor, and you'll end up here basically right in front of, kind of right in between registration and the ballroom where we are. Now this other area over here, kind of labeled in pink on the terrace level where we are, I believe is the open board gaming area. So folks looking for a place to hang out and play board games or card games, I believe that is the open area designated for that sort of thing. Right there on the same floor as us again. One level below the lobby, one level above concourse. Concourse is where all the 40K players are. So like, don't go down there unless you want to be in a sea of 40K players, or there's something else going on down there that you want to get involved in. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, I will try to have a walkthrough for folks when we get there of what everything actually looks like. So hopefully everybody can find everything really easily. And now I want to talk about, one second, the Masters Player Pack. Yes. Okay. So there has been an update to the Players Pack. It is not regarding anything competitive, but a page has been added to the end with some hospitality information. And this is something that people might find interesting and might not notice was there. So if you take a look at the Players Pack, if you have lost the URL for it, you can go to either the Kings of War Master site or Dash 28, and it's linked from both of those places. And at the end, the organizers have added some food options. They've also listed a couple of places inside the hotel where you can get a drink or something to eat, and then some places nearby the hotel that you can go. So if you're looking for something quick or easy to find, and you don't want to spend a lot of time finding a local place, you can just pick one of these, and that'll be good. There's of course food in the hotel. The hotel also has like catering options, basically, that last year they had like literally right outside the ballroom that we're in. Um, but it's like restaurant catering quality food, so it's not awesome or cheap, but it will be quick and like right in front of you. So if those two attributes are the most important thing, then that is a good option. But if you're looking for better quality food, you'll want to go just a little further afield, and so you might want to check one of these places out. The next thing I want to talk to you about is, so for anybody coming who has been to a tournament in like the Northeast or the Mid Atlantic or possibly even the Southeast for the last year or so, you've probably done the scores this way. This isn't going to seem new to you. We've done it at like Crossroads and the Mid Atlantic tournaments, and I think Rossi did it at Dead of Winter. And then I think like Cody and Nathan have run it at their tournaments in the Southeast at least once. But I'm just going to kind of walk folks through it just so everybody's kind of on the same page. First, you will want to bring a smartphone with you or some sort of internet connected device that you can use to submit your scores, because you will be submitting them on your phones or device. You will want it to have a camera on it, and be able to open a web browser. And that's basically all you need. If that becomes an issue for you, we should have some paper backups that you can use if you're having trouble, if your phone runs out of battery or whatever. Um, and your opponent won't just submit the scores for you, because both people have to submit, but there's no authentication. So long as we get a result that says it's from each player, everything's okay. Then you should be fine. So make sure you bring that. And now I'm going to show you guys. So the first thing is, there will be QR codes. When you get to the table, I believe the way Alex has done it is there will be a piece of paper on every table that will have the maps for the 3 rounds that day. This is for Masters players. I'm not sure how my guild's doing it for Best of the Rest. Sorry, but similarly, there will be QR codes somewhere. So for the Masters, there will be a page on every table that's got the maps on one side and the codes for score submission for the day on the other. Okay. And those are QR codes. They look like these codes here. Hopefully you've seen them before. Hopefully you know how to use them. If not, it's pretty simple. You grab your phone, you open your phone up, you open, whatever camera app you have on your phone. Once that's open, you point it at the QR code. Your phone app should recognize the code and kind of extract a URL for you. You click on the URL, and then that will open the form in your device's browser. And you will get, depending on which code you scan, you will get either like the pairings and current scores, or you will get a form to submit. There will be a form for submitting results each round, and another form for doing like player's choice votes and favorite opponent votes and things like that. And they should be pretty clearly labeled. If you're having trouble getting the QR code to scan, there are also shortened URLs that are much easier to type than the whole big, random form URL that hopefully are on the sheet. And if not, you can ask someone up the front, and we can tell you what the short URL is, or again, like, you can just borrow your opponent's phone, or ask them to put in your numbers for you. But we do need a submission from each player. So step one is you'll scan a QR code to get either the current scores and pairings, if you need to like look up what table you're on or who you're playing or something like that. You can scan that. That's the same URL the whole weekend, so you can just leave that tab open on your phone. And then the other one is to put in some votes or some scores. So if it's the end of round 1 and you're looking to put in game results, then you're going to arrive at a form that looks something like this. And the fields are all going to be, nothing that you're not used to writing down at any tournament for your score results anyway. But you'll go through and you'll pick what round this was, what table you were at, who you are. These things are pre-filled with everybody and who you played. Was it a good game? This is just a very simple sports thing. If you put no here, chances are ATO will come around and ask you what the issue was with the game. So like, click no if there was a significant issue that needs to be addressed. Otherwise, yes is probably the way everybody's going to default there. We'll ask scenario played, because for things like blackjack, which we are playing, the scenario matters for how exactly the thing is scored. Then you're going to put in your victory points and your opponent victory points. And this is one of the things where people sometimes get a little confused. When it says victory points, it literally just means the number of scenario points you scored in total. Do not do any math. Do not subtract one player's number from the other. You don't have to calculate the delta. If you're playing invade and you win the game with 6 unit strength on the other side of the table, you pick 6. All right. If you're playing pillage and you end in control of 3 tokens, you put in 3, and that's it. And then the same thing for your opponent. However many victory points they scored in the game is the number that you select from the dropdown. Then you put in the number of points you routed out of your opponent's army. So that's a number between 0 and 2,300, because that's how many points we're playing. And then you put in, again, the same thing for your opponent. This is just a simple data integrity check. You put in both your numbers and your opponent's numbers, so that we can see that you guys agree on who scored what. And if there's a mismatch, then the TOs will get in touch with you and ask you who has a typo here, to make sure that you guys agree on the same on the same numbers and everything. Then you hit submit. It'll tell you thanks. If you get a confirmation screen, then your data has gone through. The confirmation screen will give you a link to see the results, which I'm going to show you here in a second. If you've already scanned the code to see the pairings and results, you don't need to click that because it's going to take you to the same place. Also, pro tip, it's the same form for all 6 rounds. So after you submit, one of the other things it says is like submit another, or you can just hit back or whatever. Like you don't have to scan the code every time is what I'm telling you. Once you got the form open, you can always just back up and do it again. It's the same every round. You don't have to keep scanning it, right? Just to save you a little bit of time. Same thing with the results. It's going to be the same every time. The only thing you really need to scan fresh is like the end of day forms for things like first cut players choice voting versus final players choice voting on day 2 for masters players, because those will be 2 different ones. Okay, and then if you either scan the code to check out the results or follow the link at the end of, sorry, I got to switch what I'm sharing here. You will go to a page that looks like this. This is also currently linked on, I think, Dash 28 in the master site for people who want to see the current, or people who want to see the the results and the numbers and all. This is where you're going to look for your table assignment and your opponent over the course of the weekend. Right, there's tabs here across the top. First one will show you total results sorted by battle. Then you can see your round 1 pairing, your table assignment. Then round 1 results will show up when people start putting them in, and then when the round 2 pairings are generated, that will show up here, and then the results, and then the pairings, and then the results, and you can just click through and come back. Now, you're going to want to refresh this often, because I don't think it auto refreshes, and sometimes Google takes a couple of minutes for everything to flush through and sync up. Okay, so the first thing you should always do if you put in your scores and you look and something does not look correct is to just give it a minute and then refresh the browser, right? Just refresh the page and see if it sorts itself out. Okay, don't come bother the TOs if, like, I put my scores in and the page it took me to didn't have my numbers on it. Like, if you walk up and ask them, they're going to say the same thing. Have you refreshed the browser? It's basically like the old IT. Have you turned it off and on again? That's going to be the standard thing. So if something looks off or something looks like it's missing, don't worry, everything's cool. The data's there. Just sometimes it takes a minute for things to propagate through and sync up. So just give it a minute and refresh the browser. Then if it's not there, then go talk to the TO. All right. We've used this for a year. It usually goes pretty smooth. Um, at this point, like we've used it at enough events and run into enough issues and snags that we fixed or worked around all of them. So I'm pretty confident that this will be fine. Again, if you submit the results and you get the confirmation screen that says your data has been submitted, then your data has been submitted. Depending on like the speed of things and how long Google takes to propagate things and how slow the Wi-Fi is and like a few of the things, it might take a minute, but everything should be there. And even if the numbers look wrong, the TO probably just needs to correct one thing or press a button to make something flush through or whatever. All right. So everything should be good. Just remember, take a minute, then refresh the browser, then come point out any inconsistencies or missing data or issues to the TO, and they'll be able to take care of it for you. And kind of the same thing if you and your opponent do not put in the exact same numbers, the TO might ask you guys what the actual results were, or which one of you put it in correctly. The way to fix that is either one of you submits the scores again correctly, and the TO deletes the incorrect submission, or the TO just fixes it by hand and then manually refreshes everything. But just make sure you and your opponent are putting in the same numbers. The room is loud. There are a lot of numbers that sound the same. If you don't quite hear exactly what they said, so usually it's a problem of like the attrition numbers not quite being right. Um, like we've all done it. We've all slightly misheard a number or mistyped something. Uh, they're easy to fix. If you realize you made a little mistake like that, just go up and tell the TOs, and they'll take care of it. Or if they call on you, then just hurry over and sort it out with them. Now, everyone does need to submit it once, or at least we do need a result that says it's from every player um, in order to continue. So if if you're having trouble submitting it with your phone, you can ask your opponent, like, can you please just say that you're me and submit it for me, or something like that. But you can't just say like, hey, you just submit the numbers and I don't need to do anything, and leave to go to lunch or whatever, because that will hold up everything. All right, we do need a submission from everyone. Um, and everyone should want their opponent to submit the numbers, because otherwise you don't get sports points, right? Because that's where your sports points for the round comes from, is from your opponent saying it was a good game. So just, everybody make sure we get a row from each player. The numbers, match up. The numbers cross verify from everyone. You don't need to do any scenario math for blackjack to figure out a delta. You just put in your raw victory points and your attrition points, and it'll do the rest. And if you submit it and it seems like it's not there, just go to second, refresh the browser, and see if it sorts itself out. Okay, and I think that's pretty much it. We will have some more information for you later in the week. Like I said, I will try to do a quick venue walkthrough video when I get there on Thursday, just so you guys can see what it actually looks like and can actually find things a little more easily. Other than that, if you got any questions, you can pass them up through like your regional rep, or just ping directly, one of the TOs. Other than that, everybody travel safely, and we will see you in just a couple of days.